So starting off, we obviously have Mariah Carey. Now the Mariah Carey-Jennifer Lopez feud has been going on for years. It all started with J.Lo collaborating with Mariah's ex-husband, Sony record executive Tommy Mottola. Now Mariah claims that Tommy used J.Lo to try and get back at her and accused them of stealing songs. Later on, Mariah was doing an interview for the German television program TAF, and she was asked about other pop stars, including J.Lo. When she was asked this, Mariah just shook her head back and forth and said, "I don't know her." Now the interview was uploaded to YouTube in 2008, and it quickly became a viral meme. Now both stars have repeatedly been asked about the comment, and they can't seem to decide whether they like each other or not. In 2014, Jennifer appeared on Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live, and during a game of Plead the Fifth, she was asked about where her relationship with Mariah stands. When Andy said, "I've always heard there was a feud there," Jennifer responded, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day I've read things she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met, like we don't know each other. I think it's kind of from word of mouth of things that have happened in the past that I'm not really aware of." She added, "I would love to meet her and I would love to be friends with her. I think she's incredibly talented and I've always been a fan of hers." But that same year, Mariah spoke to Andy Cohen about the feud, and she stood her ground reiterating, "I don't know her, what am I supposed to say?" Then this year, among J.Lo's drama with Ben Affleck and her failed tour, a source exclusively told In Touch, "It's no secret that Mariah can't stand J.Lo. They've had a feud going back more than 20 years, so of course she's thrilled to see her ticket sales in the toilet," said the source. Mariah is never shy about trash-talking J.Lo and always complains about how overrated and phony she is. She's happy the public is finally seeing it too. Seems like these two will never make up. Now Rosie Perez used to work with J.Lo, and they met in 1991 during an open casting call for the Fly Girl dancers. Now Rosie was the show's Fly Girl choreographer, and she claims that she was the one who convinced host and creator Keenan Ivory Wayans to pick J.Lo. Now J.Lo made her debut in September 1991, but she really didn't get along with her fellow dancers. Rosie wrote about this in her 2014 memoir, revealing that hiring J.Lo was a mistake. "All the girls were coming into my office complaining about how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage." Now Rosie wrote in her memoir saying that Jen thought the girls were just jealous. She went on to say that J.Lo dropped her sweet girl act and went off on Rosie like some ghetto biatch, screaming and pounding her chest. Rosie claims she shouted, "You pick on me and only me, every effing day, every effing day. I work my ass off, deliver, and you keep pushing me aside, treating me like, shh, I know I'm good, I'm better than any of those girls and you know it." Now J.Lo then left the show after 2 years, but she still made life difficult for Rosie as she talked crap about her. After being hurt by the alleged comments, Rosie was then surprised when J.Lo was friendly to her at a nightclub years later. "Jennifer came over to me smiling, saying hello as if nothing had happened. I should have let it go, played it off too. Instead, I killed her with my biting tongue," Rosie wrote. But Rosie later explained to Piers Morgan that tabloids made a feud between them a major thing when it just wasn't. "I don't hate Jennifer Lopez, I have great respect for her," she said. "When I first saw her, I knew she was going to be a star. Yes, we had a tiff, and it was 20 years ago. It's unfortunate that the tabloids try to portray it as something that is current," she says. Regardless, Rosie had a pass with J.Lo and wasn't afraid to call her out. Howard Stern has claimed many times on his radio show that he doesn't like J.Lo, her music, or how she's acted in her career. Now because of this, Jennifer has avoided him, as when Howard first got the job as a judge on America's Got Talent, he tried to make his case by slamming other celebrity judges who, in his opinion, are more focused on advancing their own careers than doing the job they're hired to do. "I think a lot of the celebrity judges are not that good at judging, they're more interested in promoting their career," he said in a red carpet interview with HLN in 2012. "I was critical of American Idol J.Lo because I felt that she never said anything negative, let's say. And I felt like, well, it helped her career. She got very far, she suddenly got back on the charts and the show was good for her. And it became more about J.Lo." Now on top of this, Howard has reportedly bashed all of J.Lo's music. In 2011, Howard and his co-host Robin Quivers dissected her hit single On the Floor and repeatedly played the sound sound of Howard banging his head against the wall in time to the music. In 2016, Howard compared J-Lo's music to that of a homeless woman who sang a nonsensical song for his staffers. Then in 2019, he called out Jimmy Fallon for praising J-Lo's Super Bowl halftime show performance, and this doesn't even scratch the surface of how many times he's bashed her, so safe to say, he's not afraid of calling out the star. In early July 2003, Jennifer fired her manager Benny Medina. She accused him of violating California's Talent Agency Act, filed a petition accusing him of misappropriating her money, and sought millions in back commissions plus 10% interest, according to Billboard. It was said that Benny was not a licensed talent agent under the Labor Commissioner, a violation that entitles a performer to seek a refund for any payments to the acting talent agent up to a year before filing the petition. Now in J-Lo's case, this amounted to 10% of earnings from movies and television, 15% of her music, recording and publishing earnings, and 10% of her earnings from other activities, including fashion and cosmetic interests. Benny denied the allegations, saying, "Jennifer Lopez, by making false allegations against me, is now trying to add me to the long list of people whom she has used and discarded after she took from them all she could get. I will defend myself against these lies and will collect from her every dollar which I am owed." Now, in the end, that December, it was reported that the dispute was settled quietly some time ago. Now, Jennifer later rehired Benny to revive her music career in 2005, and the two have remained friends and business partners ever since, but it just kinda seems off. Then there was the time J-Lo's makeup artist Scott Barnes was fired after being accused of leaking information to the press about J-Lo's marriage to Mark Anthony. During an interview on the Jeff Probst show, Scott set the record straight after rumors circulated that he and two others leaked plans of J-Lo and Anthony's secret marriage, and as a result, J-Lo's team shunned Scott. He said, "No one would talk to me, it was like I had the plague." Then, when the truth came out that Scott did not leak the news or even know about the wedding ahead of time, he received a phone call from Jen, who Scott claims said the following. It was like, "Hey, it was a big misunderstanding. You know, we have a lot of stuff coming up and I really miss you, so let's just get back to work." Now, although Scott was very gracious about the whole thing, it appears that J-Lo did not apologize to him. Why he would go back to work for her, I have no clue, but at least he got the truth out that it was not him who leaked the news. And finally, we have J-Lo and Madonna. Now, their feud all began when Madonna was asked about who she thinks is the best female singer in the world, and she said Jennifer Lopez was a good actress, but couldn't sing. Then in a 1998 interview, Jennifer fired back at Madonna, saying she wasn't a good actor while promoting her film Out of Sight. When asked about Madonna's acting skills, J-Lo didn't hold back. "Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, 'Oh, I can do that, I can act.' I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, after the interview was published, J-Lo regretted everything she said about her colleagues and said it was all a joke. But Madonna had already read the interview and reportedly felt disrespected, so there was no turning back. Then there was a New Year's Eve party hosted by Donatella Versace that year, which was attended by J-Lo, Madonna, and Christopher Saccone. Christopher explained that Ingrid Carasez, Madonna's closest friend, ran into the courtyard during the celebration and shouted, "J-Lo is here and we are not talking to her." He said everyone except for him and Donatella Versace gave Jennifer the cold shoulder. And honestly, I kinda think she deserves it. Now, since then, Madonna has made a couple digs towards J-Lo in the media, and their relationship is still rocky. Elon Musk has now inserted himself into the Diddy drama by calling out Jennifer Lopez for not warning us about Diddy and all the horrible things he's done. Elon, though, is one to talk. Now, Musk was speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience when he began talking about J-Lo's criticism of the recently elected president and his remarks about Puerto Ricans. Elon then brought up J-Lo's personal history with Diddy, as she dated him from 1999 to 2001. He said, "J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend, and now all of a sudden, she's warning people about Trump. How many people did she warn about Diddy? Oh, 0. Maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion." He then added, people in the music entertainment industry had to know that Diddy was doing those things. Where's the accountability? They had to know. Again, this is somewhat hilarious coming from Elon, considering all the horrible things he's done, but he's not the only celeb who's questioned J-Lo's involvement with the Diddy case. Ojani Noah, her ex-husband, claimed that she was involved in Diddy's freak-offs that came in his federal indictment. "I'm I'm not on the list, he wrote on Instagram. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of Diddy's freak-off parties, no and no. But my ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, did. Ask her. Then Suge Knight believes that J-Lo and Ben Affleck's marriage fell apart because Homeland Security informed him that she was on the tapes that they found. It's a white man who got respect in the white world, Knight said on his podcast Collect Calls. I'm quite sure they said, we want to show you some things about your wife, and I'm quite sure they headed for divorce because that's a man who had a good life. Great parents don't spend a lot of money. Ain't tripping off paparazzi, he's living his life. He got his own team. She done brought all that extra out, and now that mother effer he want out. Now, J-Lo hasn't addressed the Diddy situation and will probably remain quiet on it. She was seen out recently and was interacting with fans when a paparazzi said, J-Lo, do you have any comments about P. Diddy and the allegations? Now, immediately Jennifer stopped taking photos and giving autographs and sped off with her team away from fans.
Do you have any comments about P. Diddy and the allegations?
Well, back up, look, don't lean. Jennifer, don't lean. Nice your son.
Now others called after her, telling the superstar don't leave, but despite the pleas, she headed away through a door, away from everyone. Now it's important to note that J-Lo has not been formally linked or accused to Diddy and his crimes. Just last week, one of J-Lo's past assistants has come forward and addressed her involvement. Thea D'Souza, who worked with J-Lo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that said, if you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you were close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she is a workaholic who uplifts women and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life. She then emphasized that J-Lo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. Now, it does make sense though that people would question Jen's involvement as she has been arrested with Diddy in the past. Yep, you heard that right. In 1999, Diddy was arrested following an incident that happened at a nightclub in New York. That night, Diddy was with his bodyguard, Anthony Wolf, rapper Jamal Shane Barrows, and Jennifer Lopez, who he was dating at the time. As reported by Forbes, the incident started with a disagreement and ended with 3 different people becoming injured. After the incident, Diddy, J-Lo, and Jamal left the scene, but then the 3 were involved in a police car chase. Now, it's even been rumored that J-Lo threw evidence out of the car during this case. According to the Washington Post, police found a stolen weapon in the car, and both Diddy and J-Lo were arrested and initially charged with criminal possession of stolen property. Now, the charges against J-Lo were dropped overnight, but Diddy and Jamal went to trial. Jennifer spent 14 hours in a police station as the result of her incident. Now, she later described it as an unfortunate situation, adding, we were somewhere we shouldn't have been. It was a bad situation, and any bad situation that involves celebrities, people run with. Diddy faced additional charges of bribery as he had allegedly offered the driver of the car $50,000 to say the weapon was his. Diddy was acquitted of the charges, and Jamal was charged with 5 offenses. Now, he served 10 years for his charges, according to the New York Times. But nobody was ever charged and found guilty of the actual incident. One woman who was a victim of the incident claims that Diddy injured her, which Diddy has denied. Natania Rubin filed a $130 million lawsuit for compensation against Diddy in 2008, which was then settled out of court in June 2011. Now, J-Lo has rarely spoken about the incident, but in the year 2000, she did address it in an interview with British Elle. She said, it was a complete nightmare. I had absolutely no idea what was going on. No one did. Now, J-Lo was in a little bit more trouble when they were arrested because up until that point, she said she was born in 1970, but she was actually born in 1969. Now, it's just very strange to me because her age only changed 1 year. It seems like such an insignificant detail to me, and I don't know why she would change it, and it seems like like no one really knows why, but multiple theories think it might have had to do with her schooling. Others say she did it to appear younger in Hollywood, but again, it's only 1 year. If she said she was 5 years younger than she really was, I'd believe that theory, but only 1 year doesn't really make any sense. But recently now, one of Diddy's accusers, Rodney Jones, who filed a lawsuit against the star, claimed that Diddy was responsible for the incident in the nightclub in New York and alleged that Diddy bragged about using J-Lo to smuggle the weapon into the club. He shared that artist and Diddy's girlfriend at the time, J-Lo, carried the weapon into the club for him and passed it to him after he got into an altercation with another individual, he alleged in the lawsuit. Now all I can say is yikes. Diddy has denied the accusations, but again, J-Lo has remained silent. Is there more to the story than J-Lo is letting on? Regardless, I think she needs to clear her name, whether she puts out a statement herself or through a representative, because all of this is not a good look at all. Now, Diddy was arrested in September for running a crime ring for over a decade. While in jail, he's been faced with multiple lawsuits, and he's getting more and more every day, it appears. In October, Tony Busby, a Texas-based attorney, announced he was representing more than 120 men and women against Diddy. The criminal complaint states that Diddy held freak-offs where he distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Now, Diddy's attorneys have repeatedly denied the allegations. Mr. Combs and his legal team have full confidence in the facts, their legal defenses, and the integrity of the judicial process, his attorney said in a statement to CNN. In court, the truth will prevail. When you have a consistent line of victims alleging the same or similar claims, it just gives a lot more credibility to the allegations, said Trey Lovell, a Los Angeles-based entertainment attorney. Now, Nancy Erica Smith, an attorney in New Jersey, said, "The evidence, I think, is overwhelming," adding that the lawsuits are helping to change the culture. "I think that women are going to be less likely to tolerate it and fearful to speak out, and other women are going to come forward." Yeah, it just does not look good for Diddy, and with this though, it has people questioning whether those close to him knew about the crimes or even participated in them. That's why J-Lo's name has been dragged through the mud. It appears that we'll only learn more during Diddy's trial, which is set for May 5th, 2025. One of J-Lo's past assistants has come forward and addressed J-Lo's involvement in Diddy's crime ring. And let me tell you, it's not what you think at all. Thea D'Souza, who worked with J-Lo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that said, "If you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you were close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she's a workaholic who uplifts women, and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life." Now, she emphasized that J-Lo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. So, Thea claims that J-Lo is innocent in all of this, which is a great thing, and it's honestly good to see someone having J-Lo's back at a time like this. They've been digging up photos of J-Lo at parties and have been speculating a lot. Now, besides proof that J-Lo had been to some of his white parties, as she was his girlfriend, there's been zero proof that she had anything to do with the crimes Diddy committed, nor that she even knew about them. While her ex-assistant has stood up for her, J-Lo, for her part though, has stayed silent. And she probably will be for the time being, as she doesn't really address rumors or drama. It's obviously a sensitive subject and is something that the star doesn't want to discuss. So if you meet J-Lo, I'd suggest not asking her about Diddy. Besides, if she has something to say, she will say it eventually. It's a very sticky situation that she's in, and nobody is entitled to her opinion on the whole situation. Now, since breaking up with Diddy, J-Lo has claimed that he was unfaithful during their relationship. Now, maybe this is why she won't talk about him. She could still be hurt by all of this. Now, throughout their relationship and after their breakup, J-Lo was aware of rumors that Diddy was cheating on her. When the pair first met, Diddy essentially love-bombed her. He gave her a ton of attention and told her that he loved her almost immediately. J-Lo said this made her uncomfortable at first, but then she fell for him. As their relationship wore on though, the feelings of doubt crept back in. "It was the first time I was with someone who wasn't faithful," she told Vibe magazine after the breakup. "I was in this relationship with Puff where I was totally crying, crazy, and going nuts. It really took my whole life in a tailspin." Now she grew increasingly concerned about his fidelity, saying, "I never caught him, but I just knew," she said of his cheating. He said he was going to the club for a couple of hours and then he'd never come back that night. Now, Diddy himself has admitted that he was often unfaithful in relationships. In a 2015 appearance on The Breakfast Club, he said his partners would often be frustrated with his behavior. Now, J-Lo later admitted they broke up and got back together far more than the public knew, which honestly isn't healthy at all. But in 2001, the couple ended things for good. It was scary, and we broke up many times before that and got back together and broke up again and nobody knew about it. Now it seems like J-Lo is more stressed out about everything regarding this relationship than participating in Diddy's extracurricular activities. Yes, she attended some of his parties, but that was only when they were dating, and she didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. I mean, when J-Lo was asked about Diddy in 2022 when she was on the Wendy Williams show, things got, well, awkward. Wendy asked if she and Diddy would ever get back together, and J-Lo laughed and shook her head as the camera panned to her mother sitting in the audience. Now J-Lo's mother looked furious as she shouted no while waving her hand back and forth. Now reposting the clip on Twitter, one fan wrote, "Some of y'all didn't catch J-Lo's mom's reaction when Wendy Williams said this." Yeah, I feel like this says a lot about their relationship. Clearly there was something going on and she didn't want to be associated with him anymore. And the fact that J-Lo's mom doesn't like Diddy, that speaks volumes. Recently, some shocking information was revealed from someone who attended Diddy's exclusive parties. On November 1st, former model Rachel Kennedy appeared on Daily Mail's The Trial of Diddy podcast to share her experience. Now during her appearance, Rachel revealed that when she met Diddy in the year 2000, Diddy allegedly played J-Lo's music videos on a continuous loop in his hotel room while he was reportedly on the phone with the singer. "It was kind of an odd thing to find out that we were watching J-Lo's video," she said, describing it as "it's a little bit creepy and very disrespectful." Yeah, I'd have to agree with Rachel on that. Rachel, along with two friends, was invited to Diddy's hotel room for a party after meeting him at Seventh Heaven, a topless club in Japan. She shared that it quickly became clear that this was not the type of party they had expected. Rachel recounted that she and her friends initially found Diddy friendly and decided to stay, even after noticing some wild behavior around them. "We went in, we didn't think anything strange, he was friendly enough, so we decided, okay, we'll just hang out with him," she said. Now things took a turn though, and it's now believed that this was actually one of Diddy's freak-offs. Rachel went on to say when she and her friends were with Diddy, suddenly one of his bodyguards barged into the room and he looked so violent and angry. He then ejected the women from the room, which came off as a shock to them. She said, "We just couldn't believe what was happening. First of all, how does he have that much access to Puff Daddy's room? That's the first thing I thought. How does he just come in like that?" Looking back at the strange experience, she alleged that the Bad Boy Records founder teaches them the behavior as he's their boss. She added, "He is the puppet master of all of this, and this is why people think it's okay, because he's teaching them that this kind of behavior is acceptable. He's like a cult leader and these people are his disciples," she said. Now this makes sense, as it's been released that Diddy had plenty of rules his employees had to follow when it came to finding him women. A former party planner who worked with Diddy during 2004 and 2005, who wished to remain anonymous, stated that women attending these parties were subjected to weight checks. "We would do a weigh-in if necessary. The girls had to be young and hot, so I always had a scale nearby in case I needed to make sure. The number was 140 pounds, but if a girl was really tall, there was a little bit of discretion involved," said the planner, adding that other requirements included no flab, no cellulite, no overly pierced or tattooed, and no short hair. Now the dress code reportedly demanded women wear short dresses, with high stilettos being a non-negotiable. comfortable. No pants, no jeans, no flat shoes. Every girl had to wear a party dress, preferably very short, just enough to cover her butt cheeks but no longer than mid-thigh, cleavage showing. And every single one of them had to be wearing stilettos. That one, there was no exception, high stilettos. The New York Post quoted the planner as saying. Now it seems like we won't find out more from J-Lo regarding this whole situation unless she's called on to testify in court. But with everything that's been released about Diddy, J-Lo is the least of our problems. We all know that Jennifer Lopez used to date Diddy, but now her ex-husband is claiming that J-Lo attended Diddy's parties and actually knew what was going on. Ohani Noah, J-Lo's first husband, took to social media to distance himself from any connection to Diddy's freak-off parties, but claimed that J-Lo was one of multiple celebrities present at them. While we do know that J-Lo has been to Diddy parties, as there's photographic evidence, there has been nothing official put out about her involvement in freak-offs. Now, in a post on Instagram, Noah shared a list of stars who have allegedly attended Diddy's parties, one being J-Lo. "I'm not on the list," he captioned the post. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of Diddy's freak-off parties, no and no. Never. But my ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, did. Ask her. Noah, who married J-Lo in February 1997, before the couple divorced less than a year later, blames their split on Diddy's working relationship with J-Lo. Now that relationship was created during the making of J-Lo's debut album On the Six, and it later became romantic, with Diddy and J-Lo dating between 1999 and 2001 before calling it quits. She went from Jen to being J-Lo, this big business bringing in millions, Noah once told Daily Mail of the shift of their relationship. She had all these new people around her, all wanting to make money off of her. I would call and an assistant would say, "Sorry, she's not available." Now, this isn't the first time her ex-husband has called her out. Despite the fact that they were only married for 9 months, Noah has been trying to slander his former flame to keep his name in the news by any means possible. In 2006, he set out to publish a tell-all book dubbed The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller, which Jennifer stopped with a lawsuit, claiming that her ex was breaking their confidentiality agreement. She was then awarded $545,000 in damages, and Noah was slapped with a court order which forbade him from criticizing, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. Then just 3 years later, he made headlines again when he threatened to release videos taped during the pair's honeymoon, showing the pop star in a revealing lack of clothing and in certain situations, especially in the hotel room. And this caused her to file a $10 million lawsuit against him. Meanwhile, during a 2016 appearance on Million Dollar Matchmaker, he dumped blame on his former wife, saying that she caused their split, and claimed, "I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me." Now, after Jennifer tied the knot with Ben Affleck in July 2022, Noah publicly spoke out about her marriage. "I wish her and Ben the best, but I'm not convinced it will last," he told the Daily Mail that month. "Jen loves being in love, but she's been engaged 6 times. Ben is husband number 4. I was husband number 1, and she told me I was the love of her life." Now, it seems like in the end that he was right. Other stars have also called out J-Lo for her ties to Diddy as well. Elon Musk was speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience when he began talking about J-Lo's criticism of the recently elected president and his remarks about Puerto Ricans. He said J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend, and now all of a sudden she's warning people about Trump. How many people did she warn about Diddy? Oh, 0. Maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion, he said. He added, people in the music industry had to know that Diddy was doing all those things. Where's the accountability? They had to know. Suge Knight also believes that J-Lo's and Ben's marriage fell apart because Homeland Security informed him that she was on the tapes that they found at Diddy's. "It's a white man who got respect in the white world," Knight said on his podcast Collect Calls. "I'm quite sure they said, we want to show you some things about your wife. I'm quite sure they headed for divorce because that's a man who had a good life. Great parents, don't spend a lot of money, ain't tripping off paparazzi, he's living his life. He got his own team, she done brought all that extra out, and now that mother effer he want out." Now, on the other hand though, Thea D'Souza, who worked with J-Lo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that defended the star and said that she had no involvement with any of this. If you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you're close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she's a workaholic who uplifts women and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life. Now, she emphasized that J-Lo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. Now, J-Lo was recently spotted out in public interacting with fans when a paparazzi asked her, "J-Lo, do you have any comments about P. Diddy and the allegations?" Now, immediately J-Lo stopped taking photos and giving autographs and left. Many people begged her not to leave, but she didn't listen. She wanted nothing to do with answering that question or being associated with Diddy. Now, with Diddy's recent arrest, people have been speculating on his time with J-Lo. An anonymous source said he was very controlling, he would constantly put her in uncomfortable situations, this is a good girl from the Bronx who never got into trouble or was wild. The source also said he never hurt J-Lo, but she had her longtime manager, Benny Medina, to protect her. Benny would have ended Puffy's life if he laid a finger on J-Lo. But still, Puffy was controlling and demanding. Now, there's been a conflicting report though, as another source who knew the couple at the time said he definitely manhandled her, but it's a little low to bring all this up now, it's kicking a man when he's down. Then there was the nightclub situation. In 1999, Diddy was arrested following an incident that happened at a nightclub in New York. That night, Diddy was with his bodyguard Anthony Wolf, rapper Jamal Barrows, and Jennifer. As reported by Forbes, the incident started with a disagreement and ended with 3 different people becoming injured. After the incident, Diddy, J-Lo, and Jamal left the scene, but the 3 were involved in a police car chase. It was then reported that J-Lo threw evidence out of the car. According to the Washington Post, police found a stolen weapon in the car, and both Diddy and J-Lo were arrested and initially charged with criminal possession of stolen property. The charges against J-Lo were dropped overnight, but Diddy and Jamal went to trial. Diddy faced additional charges of bribery as he had allegedly offered the driver of the car $50,000 to say the weapon was his. Diddy was acquitted of all charges, and Jamal was charged with 5 offenses, but nobody was ever charged and found guilty of the actual incident. But recently, one of Diddy's accusers, Rodney Jones, who filed a lawsuit against the star, claimed that Diddy was responsible for the incident in the nightclub in New York and alleged that Diddy bragged about using J-Lo to smuggle the weapon into the club. He shared that the artist and his girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, carried the weapon into the club for him, passed it to him after he got into an altercation with another individual, Jones is alleged in the lawsuit. All I can say about this is yikes. Now, Diddy has denied the accusations, but again, J-Lo has remained silent. Is there more to this story that J-Lo is letting on? And if she could lie about that, then has she really been involved with the crimes happening at Diddy's parties? There's so much speculation right now, but it seems like we won't get an answer about it unless J-Lo is called on to testify at Diddy's trial, which is currently set for May 5th, 2025. J-Lo is apparently trying to take half of Ben Affleck's net worth, even though she has double the money he has. Now, the pair have been going through a rough patch the last couple of months with rumors of them divorcing. It's said that Ben hates J-Lo, and listen, we can't blame him. Now, recently it's been revealed that J-Lo is trying to take half of Ben's fortune. Jen and Ben are living separately now that their shared mansion in Beverly Hills is back on the market. Ben, who's starring in The Accountant 2, is renting a place in Brentwood near his ex-wife Jennifer Garner and their kids. Meanwhile, Jen is staying in her LA home with her children Max and Emmy. According to a source from Radar Online, J-Lo wants half of Ben's nearly $150 million fortune, even though she herself has much more, which is about $400 million. The insider alleges that J-Lo, who recently canceled her expensive Los Angeles residency, took on the majority of the financial responsibility. Now, they depict Ben as a huge cheapskate who constantly complained about J-Lo's spending habits. Now, apparently, to avoid his grumbling, Jen covered most expenses to maintain their luxurious lifestyle. One of the little-known secrets is that Jennifer paid for much of their marital expenses, and now she feels he owes her, the source claimed. She's adding up all those private jet bills she put on her plastic, the hotels and meals, clothes, coffee runs, gas. The high cost of living was done on her dime. She paid the lion's share for that $60 million mansion they bought too, they added. Ben took so much money out of her, at least that's what she's saying. Now, she can take some money from him if she wants, because they didn't get a prenup, which is a big mistake. Now, OK Magazine said that when the pair wedded in Las Vegas, they didn't tie up their assets. According to a source, Jen's love for Ben was so unconditional at the time that she didn't see a prenup as necessary. Now, rumor has it that wasn't the case in the first phase of their relationship. When the pair first came together, a prenup was allegedly on the table. It was claimed that their original prenup not only protected their assets, but protected the relationship from infidelity. Now, the contract stated that the pair were able to keep both of their money, except if Ben cheated. If he stepped out, it would effectively nullify their prenup, putting his fortune at risk. But the two never made it to the altar, so the alleged prenup never had to take effect. But now I'm sure that Ben is wishing there was one right now. A source said Jen and Ben have been living separate lives but have not officially separated yet about Bennifer's relationship status. At this point, they're just doing their own thing. They went into their relationship very optimistic that things could change, but they haven't. Now, one of the biggest reasons for their breakup in the early 2000s was the media attention. Now, history has repeated itself because it seems to be one of the reasons why this relationship isn't working out and why Ben resents Jennifer. Ben likes his privacy, while Jen likes to go all out and show it off to the world. Now, we saw how uncomfortable this made Ben in Jen's documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. When Ben pops up in the doc, it's often to express concern that his private love story is becoming used for something he didn't particularly want. Now, the doc is actually named after a scrapbook that Ben gifted Jennifer for Christmas in 2021, stacked with every letter and email they'd written to each other over the last 20 years. Now, Jennifer showed the book to her producers and songwriters on the first day of making her new album without asking or telling Ben. Now, this revelation comes within the first 5 minutes of the doc, and right out of the gate, Ben isn't shy about his discomfort. He's shocked that Jennifer would share something so personal with her collaborators, and now, of course, with the world. Ben chalked it up to artistic inspiration and said that J-Lo's style was just an adjustment for him. He said, "When Jen and I broke up before, the catalyst for that was this massive amount of scrutiny around our private life. I had a very firm sense of boundaries around the press, while Jen, I don't think, objected to it the way I did." Still though, he was optimistic this time around, and for a while, Ben got swept up in it. But her obsession with the limelight and the need to parade their love all around didn't really sit right with Ben after a while. Not to mention that Jennifer exposed his private love letters to her. Now, later in the documentary, Jen acknowledged that she's aware of Ben's discomfort, but didn't seem willing to do much to improve things for him. "I don't think Ben is very comfortable with me doing all of this," she said. "But he loves me, he knows I'm an artist, and he's gonna support me in every way he can because he knows you can't stop me from making my music." Now, it seems like Jen doesn't really want to change her ways, which is why their relationship ended in the first place. Now, Jen and Ben first met on the set of the 2003 rom-com Geely. Now, at the time, J-Lo was still married to her second husband, her dancer Chris Judd, and J-Lo and Ben then went public with their relationship soon after her divorce from Chris. In November 2002, J-Lo confirmed that they were engaged in an interview with Diane Sawyer. "It's the most magnificent thing I've ever seen," she said of the 6.1 carat pink diamond from Harry Winston that Ben gave her. Now, the ring reportedly cost him $2.5 million. Then, in September 2003 though, they postponed their wedding. 2 days before the two were set to officially tie the knot, they released a joint statement announcing the ceremony's postponement. They said, "Due to the excessive media attention surrounding our wedding, we have decided to postpone the date. When we found ourselves seriously contemplating hiring 3 separate decoy brides at 3 different locations, we realized that something was awry." We began to feel that the spirit of what should have been the happiest day of our lives could be compromised. We felt what should have been a joyful and sacred day could be spoiled for us, our families, and our friends. Then, on January 22nd, 2024, the two ended their engagement. J.Lo confirmed the sad news through her spokesperson. "I'm confirming the report that Jennifer Lopez has ended her engagement to Ben Affleck," the statement said at the time. "At this difficult time, we ask you to respect her privacy." Now, not to mention, right now, J.Lo is posting cryptic things to her social media accounts, which just has more people talking and speculating. Now, she liked a post that raised some eyebrows, as the post in question reads, "You cannot build a healthy relationship with somebody who, among other things, lacks integrity and emotional safety, doesn't respect your time, doesn't think it's important to call text back in a respectable time frame, lacks effective communication skills, and doesn't know who they are or what they want." Now, if she liked this in relation to Ben, that's not the best thing, and I understand why they'd be going through marital troubles. Then there was the fact that she celebrated the anniversary of her Spanish song Cambia El Paso. While the song was released 3 years ago in 2021, the lyrics seemingly hold a deeper meaning now given the current state of her relationship with Ben. On Sunday, Jennifer shared a clip from the track's music video on Instagram while singing about a man who's undeserving of her love. She knows that, the intro begins, before launching into the first verse that reads, "Her life is better now without him, she knows that her hips don't fail her, she doesn't need anyone to be well, she doesn't fail, she doesn't fail." Yeah, the timing of that post is a little bit suspicious. Now, not to mention that it's been leaked that J.Lo has some truly insane rules that she makes Ben follow. Now, Ben has been open about his addiction to alcohol, as he first checked into a rehab facility in 2001, completing a 30-day residential rehabilitation program. He has sought treatment for alcoholism on several occasions in the years since, getting professional help in 2008, 2017, and again in 2018 after his divorce from Jennifer Garner was finalized. Now, he briefly relapsed in 2019, but said he wouldn't let it derail him, admitting, "It happens, it's a slip." Now, that same year, the actor acknowledged that being an alcoholic is something that he deals with on a daily basis. It's become unfortunately common for fans to speculate about his health, particularly after he married Jennifer Lopez. Now, for example, a clip of Jennifer and Ben having a seemingly tense conversation at the premiere of her movie Shotgun Wedding went viral in January after fans suspected that the pair were arguing over Ben's drinking, as Jen demanded to take a sip of his drink. Now, it appears that she didn't trust him, which I'm sure Ben didn't like. Now, also, female flight attendants are reportedly banned from her private planes. Now, according to reports, Jennifer was so angry after finding out her then husband Mark Anthony had an alleged fling with a flight attendant that she banned women from working on her private planes. She hates flight attendants because her ex-husband Mark Anthony had an affair with one when they were married, an anonymous source revealed. Now, several corporate flight attendants came forward and revealed that Jennifer does not allow female associates to work on their flights. J.Lo won't let a female flight attendant work. She brings her own male flight attendant, who is not a flight attendant but a personal assistant. Now, it was also reported that J.Lo demanded course 4 times a week from her husband, and Ben denied this and her other rules in a Vanity Fair interview, saying, "You can't legislate behavior, you've got to believe in the person and believe you can meet the challenges you face. Neither of us are stupid or naive. It would be nice if you could have the rules, but you just can't write it down," he explained. Starting off, we have Ben Affleck. Now, J.Lo and Ben Affleck fell in love on the set of Gilgy in 2001. They then starred in another movie, Jersey Girl, in 2002, and that year Ben proposed to Jennifer, but the following year they postponed their wedding and announced their split in 2004. They went their separate ways and married other people and had children, but those marriages came to an end. Then in 2021 they were spotted together multiple times and photos were obtained of them kissing. They were spotted out together a lot, and in April 2022 the couple got engaged. The pair tied the knot in Las Vegas on July 16th in 2022 and then had a big ceremony with friends and family after. Everyone thought that fate brought this couple back together, but right now they're actually facing a lot of divorce rumors. Now, the couple have been living apart and they're selling their joint $60 million house. Now, it's also been said that the pair don't have a prenup, so that will make a prospective divorce interesting. Now, with it appearing that this relationship has failed twice, I'm sure that Ben is tired of it. Next up is Ojani Noah. Although J-Lo's short-lived marriage to Ojani Noah ended in 1998, it seems like her ex still can't stand her. Now, despite the fact that they were only married for 9 months, Noah has been trying to slander his former flame and keep his name in the news by any means possible. In 2006, he set out to publish a tell-all book dubbed The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller, which Jennifer stopped with a lawsuit, claiming that her ex was breaking their confidentiality agreement. She was awarded $545,000 in damages, and Noah was slapped with the court order, which forbade him from criticizing, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. Meanwhile, during a 2016 appearance on $1 Million Matchmaker, he dumped blame on his former wife, saying that she caused their split, claiming, "I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made a choice of career instead of me." So yeah, due to all that, I think it's safe to say that he regrets and even hates her. Then there's Drake. Almost as soon as Jennifer shared a snap of herself chilling with Drake backstage at her Las Vegas show in December 2016, it was reported that the pair were dating. The caption she used for the pic was, "Look who rolled up to my show tonight to say hi, #love him." She then made another post of him giving her a bear hug and looking rather cozy snuggling up to her. While some didn't believe the headlines, Drake's on-again, off-again love interest at the time, Rihanna, sure seemed to take the post to heart. Now, according to an unnamed insider who spoke with In Touch, she felt that she had suffered the ultimate betrayal and dubbed J-Lo desperate and a traitor. After all, the two used to be close and is said to have confided in J-Lo about her rocky relationship with Drake. Now, although Rihanna never publicly addressed the issue, she unfollowed Jennifer shortly after. Now, Rihanna ended up getting together with A$AP Rocky and having 2 children together, so I'm sure she doesn't really care who Drake's into now. But at the time though, an anonymous source told E! News that J-Lo was having fun with the rapper. But J-Lo dispelled any dating rumors during a 2017 interview on The Daily Show where she said, "Let me clear this up, I am not with Drake." Then in 2018, Drake name-dropped Jennifer on his track Diplomatic Immunity. 2010 was when I lost my halo, 2017 I lost a J-Lo. Now we have P. Diddy. Jennifer reminisced on her and Diddy's relationship in a 2003 interview with Vibe, revealing that it ended due to infidelity. "It was like the first time I was with someone who wasn't faithful," she said. "I was in this relationship with Puff where I was totally crying, crazy, and going nuts. It really took my whole life in a tailspin, and I never caught him, but I just knew." He said he was going to a club for a couple of hours and then never come back that night. Now, despite the drama of their split, the pair are still friendly these days as they speak fondly of each other. Now, Diddy shared a since-deleted Instagram post of the former couple on Instagram in May 2021, simply captioning the snap, #TBT. Now, one day prior, Us Weekly reported that Jennifer and Ben Affleck, who dated in 2002 and called off their engagement in 2004, were full-on dating again and very happy to rekindle their romance. Now, Diddy later clarified his intentions with the throwback photo, telling Vanity Fair that August, "It wasn't no trolling involved, that's just my friend, and I don't have nothing to say about her relationship or her life." Then there's Chris Judd. Now, after her relationship with Diddy ended, J-Lo met choreographer Chris Judd when he directed her Love Don't Cost a Thing music video. Now, they wed in September 2001 and filed for divorce in July 2002. Now, of her connection with Chris, Jennifer told Vibe, "Coming out of a torrid relationship, I meet this sweet person who's so refreshing, but marriage is not just about love. I thought I had learned that in my first marriage." She continued, "I loved Chris, still love him, he's one of the best people. This wasn't an easy thing to walk away from, but we didn't have what it takes to make a marriage work." Now, in a 2014 interview with Us Weekly, Chris said their relationship ended because he had trouble being connected to someone who was high profile. "You know, it's very tough, your privacy is breached, you're no longer a normal person. Our wedding was a circus. I think several people got arrested trying to climb up a mountain, trying to sneak in. We actually rented the airspace," he said. Moving on to David Cruz. J-Lo and David Cruz started dating in high school, and their relationship began when they were just teenagers. The young couple stayed together through the mid-90s and officially called it quits just before Lopez's iconic hit role in Selena. Now, a source told People that David was truly head over heels for Lopez throughout their years-long romance and was very supportive of her rise to fame. They were high school sweethearts, the source says. He was soft-spoken and kind, and he would do anything for Jennifer. You could see her trajectory early on, and at the time, he didn't mind seeing her take the lead. He was completely content with that. He just loved her. Now, their relationship didn't survive her fame as they broke things off early in her career, but not before walking a few red carpets together. Now, maybe David just couldn't handle the fame. They were both very secretive about what happened between the two of them and the reason for the split, but they seem to have ended on good terms though. Then there's Marc Anthony. Jennifer was fresh off her star-making role in the biopic Selena when she met Marc Anthony in 1998. Now, the two reportedly connected backstage at a Broadway show and soon became friends and collaborators. After Jen ended her engagement to Ben Affleck, she reconnected with Marc, who at the time was ending his relationship with his first wife, former Miss Universe Dayanara Torres. Now, they had a surprise wedding in 2004 and then worked together on many different projects. The pair then welcomed twins in 2008, and following their birth, the couple renewed their vows even though there were rumors of them getting divorced. But in 2011, fans were shocked when the pair officially announced their separation in July 2011 after 7 years of marriage. In a statement published by BBC News, the couple revealed, "This was a very difficult decision. We have come to an amicable conclusion." Now, Anthony filed the divorce petition in Los Angeles in April 2012, citing irreconcilable differences, Billboard reported. Jennifer then retained primary custody of their twins, Max and Emmy, with Anthony granted visitation for a week each month. Neither the pair were ordered to pay child or spousal support, and even though the pair continued their professional relationship following their breakup, rumors persisted about why they got divorced. The highest profile story involved Anthony's co-star in the 2009 to 2011 drama Hawthorne, Jada Pinkett Smith. On the medical series, Anthony and Pinkett Smith's characters were romantically involved, and rumors spread that the two had a real-life affair. Now, they denied it, but who knows? Now there's Beau Casper Smart. Just 4 months after splitting from Marc Anthony, J.Lo had an on-again, off-again relationship with her backup dancer, Casper Smart. Now, at the time, an insider told People that it was a fun fling and that was not meant to turn into anything more. J.Lo later hired Casper as the creative director of her All I Have residency in Las Vegas. Now, the former Flames endured a bump in the road in 2014 when a gossip site, The Dirty, claimed to have evidence that he had been exchanging photos and messages with a model. They went their separate ways in June that year, but continued with their on-again, off-again relationship before splitting up for good in 2016. She kicked him out for good because he cheated on her and he got caught, a source told People. It happened 2 years ago, and he promised he'd never do it again, and once he did, she was done. Now, there weren't any hard feelings following their breakup, however. As Casper told Us Weekly in March 2017, Jennifer is like phenomenal. Next is Alex Rodriguez. J.Lo met A-Rod during a Yankees game in 2005. We shook hands, and it was this weird electricity for like 3 to 5 seconds of looking at somebody right in their eyes and getting stuck, she told Sports Illustrated in 2019. Now, more than a decade later, the pair reconnected and started dating. "I was having lunch somewhere and I saw him as he passed by. Afterwards, I went outside, and for some reason, I felt like tapping him on the shoulder," Jennifer said during a 2017 appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres Show. "He texted me, said let's go out for dinner, and I said okay. We had a nice dinner, and since then, they officially started dating and got engaged in 2019. Now, the wedding faced delays due to the pandemic, and eventually they called it quits in April 2021. The couple released a joint statement on the Today Show saying, "We have realized we're better as friends and look forward to remaining so. We'll continue to work together and support each other on our shared businesses and projects. We wish the best for each other and one another's children. Out of respect for them, the only other comment we have to say is thank you to everyone who has sent kind words and support." And finally, we have Tommy Mottola. While this romance was never confirmed, it was rumored that Sony music executive Tommy Mottola briefly dated J.Lo after his divorce from Mariah Carey in 1998, which was the same year Jennifer divorced Noah. Now, Tommy attended the 1998 Grammy Awards alongside Jennifer, and soon after it was announced that she had signed a record deal with Sony. Now, this was said to be the start of Mariah Carey and Jennifer's rumored feud. Now, did Tommy try to be with her on purpose to get back at Mariah, or did he actually like J.Lo? I guess we'll never know. now. Jennifer Lopez has been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons recently, and it's all because of Ben Affleck. Now, Ben Affleck has had a complicated relationship with J-Lo, as they were once engaged, but they called the wedding off. They then got back together, and it was recently the couple's 2-year wedding anniversary, but it's said that they are heading for divorce. It appears that Ben has woken up to how crazy Jen is and wants to end the relationship once again. An inside source close to In Touch Weekly said the reason for Ben taking such measures like moving out is because at the end of the day, Ben has to protect himself, and that's why he initiated the separation. He's scared if they stay together, he could seriously self-destruct. They said while he has been spotted spending quality time alone with J-Lo in recent days, he now feels his head is clear and he can move on. If there was a way to divorce on the grounds of temporary insanity, he would. He feels like the last 2 years was just a fever dream, and he's come to his senses and now understands there's just no way this is going to work. Now, Jennifer Garner hasn't said too much when it comes to Ben and Jennifer's divorce rumors, as she has been pretty supportive of the pair. Well, that's until now. Sources are now saying that she's drawing a line when it comes to their relationship drama affecting their kids. A close source recently revealed to Fox News Digital that Garner wasn't expecting Ben to rekindle his relationship with Lopez or all the media attention that comes with it. Now, Garner and Affleck share 3 children, and Garner has always been super protective of their privacy. But ever since Ben and Lopez's high-profile marriage, it's been paparazzi galore, and apparently Garner's not having it. It's not just the flashing cameras in the headlines though, there's also been a lot of speculation about the state of Ben and J-Lo's marriage, and it's weighing on Garner too. Now, based on numerous conversations on his show, Howard Stern has flat out claimed that he doesn't like J-Lo, her music, or how she's acted in her career. When Howard first got the job as a judge on America's Got Talent, there were a lot of concerned viewers. However, one of his first interviews as a judge, he tried to make his case by slamming other celebrity judges who, in his opinion, are more focused on advancing their own careers than doing the job they've been hired to do. I was critical of American Idol J-Lo because I felt that she never said anything negative, let's say, and I felt like, well, it helped her career. She got very far. She suddenly got back on the charts and the show was good for her, and it became more about J-Lo. Now, on top of this, Howard has repeatedly bashed all of J-Lo's music. In 2011, Howard and his co-host Robin Quivers dissected her hit single On the Floor and repeatedly played the sound of Howard banging his head against the wall in time with the music. Then in 2019, Howard called out Jimmy Fallon for praising J-Lo's Super Bowl halftime show performance. Now, this doesn't even scratch the surface of how many times he's bashed her. J-Lo and Shakira came together to perform on the football field at the Super Bowl in 2020. Now, as 2 Latina women, their performance was for the history books, as it was the first time that 2 Latinx artists have teamed up to headline the coveted halftime slot. Now, in the halftime documentary though, it showed J-Lo being frustrated with the NFL for booking 2 headliners and making them share the same amount of time that any solo performer would receive, as opposed to doubling it and giving the women extra time to shine, later branding the whole thing the worst idea in the world. It's such a big stage and it's such an important show, and it's been a nightmare since we started, she adds. I'm trying to give you something with substance, not just us out there shaking our effing butts and effing belly dancing. Now, not long after the doc was released, this particular line of dialogue was shared across Twitter, with a number of fans raising concerns about what J-Lo might have been insinuating about the art of belly dancing. Now, for some context, belly dancing has been long associated with Middle Eastern cultures, and from the earliest days of her career, Shakira has been known for this style of dance. So, it was pretty rude and insensitive of J-Lo to say that, and I'm sure Shakira didn't appreciate it. In early July 2003, Jennifer fired her manager Benny Medina. She accused him of violating California's Talent Agency Act, filed a petition accusing him of misappropriating her money, and sought millions back in commissions plus 10% interest. Now, the assertion was that Benny was not a licensed talent agent under the Labor Commissioner, a violation that entitles a performer to seek a refund for any payments to the acting talent agent. Now, in J-Lo's case, this amounted to 10% of earnings from movies and television, 15% of her music, recording and publishing earnings, and 10% of her earnings from other activities. Now, Benny denied the allegations, saying, "Jennifer Lopez, by making false allegations against me, is now adding me to the long list of people whom she has used and discarded after she took from them all she could get." Now, in the end, that December, Fox News reported the dispute was settled quietly some time ago. J-Lo then later rehired hired Benny to revive her music career in 2005, and the two have remained friends and business partners ever since, but it seems like he should keep his guard up if she really did lie about all of that. Now, Scott Barnes has worked for J-Lo since the year 2000, but that doesn't mean there hasn't been ups and downs. During an interview on the Jeff Probst show, Scott set the record straight after rumors circulated that he and two others leaked plans of J-Lo and Mark Anthony's secret marriage, and as a result, J-Lo's team shunned Scott, and they did shun Scott indeed. He said, "Nobody would talk to me, it was like I had the plague." Then when the truth came out that Scott did not leak the news or even know about the wedding ahead of time, he received a phone call, presumably from Jen, who Scott claimed said the following. It was like, "Hey, it was a big misunderstanding, you know we have a lot of stuff coming up and I really miss you, so let's just get back to work." Although Scott was very gracious about the whole thing, it appears that J-Lo did not apologize to him. Now, almost as soon as Jennifer shared a photo of her and Drake backstage at her Las Vegas show in December 2016, the rumor mill began turning, reporting that the pair were dating. The caption she used for the pic said, "Look who rolled up to my show tonight to say hi, #love him." Now, the singer sure didn't help matters when she uploaded an image of the Canadian rapper, giving her a bear hug and looking rather cozy snuggling up to her. Now, while some people didn't believe the headlines, Drake's on-again, off-again love interest, Rihanna, sure seemed to have taken the post to heart and was not happy. According to an unnamed insider who spoke with In Touch, she felt like she had suffered the ultimate betrayal and dubbed J-Lo as desperate and a traitor. Although Rihanna never publicly addressed the issue, she did appear to throw some major shade in the most subtle of ways when in December of 2016, she suddenly unfollowed Jen on Instagram. Jennifer Lopez and Jenna Dewan seemed to get along just fine when they both appeared on NBC's World of Dance, the reality dance competition which premiered in 2017, saw Jen taking on the role of executive producer and judge, while Jenna acted as a host and mentor. Now, the pair, who are both dancers, never showed any signs of animosity on the small screen, but according to OK Magazine, the vibe was very different behind the scenes. Jenna can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery, the outlet quotes an unnamed source saying. Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling, and she hijacks the show. Every situation, even off-camera, is micromanaged by J-Lo, and Jenna feels excluded, the insider concluded. J-Lo and Madonna's feud all began when Madonna was asked who she thinks is the best female singer in the world, and she said Jennifer Lopez was a good actress, but she couldn't sing. Then in a 1998 interview, Jennifer fired back at Madonna saying she wasn't a good actor while promoting her film Out of Sight. When asked about Madonna's acting skills, J-Lo didn't hold back. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, "Oh, I can do that, I can act." I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft. After the interview was published, J-Lo regretted everything she said about her colleagues and said it was all a joke. However, it was already too late as Madonna had already read the interview and reportedly felt disrespected. TikTok videos have unveiled the stories over the past years, and one of the topics was about J-Lo's backup singer, Julia Wang, who saw firsthand her mean girl side. "If you were pretty or if you were a Latina, like game over, she hated you," Julia said of the singer. "She just acted like a bully. Can you imagine spending time with someone working in a closed setting every single day for months, and this person not even acknowledging you or acting like you exist?" Now, although we don't have proof of this, it definitely feels like something J-Lo would do, as she has a reputation for being a diva.
So Ben Affleck is determined to make sure his messy divorce with Jennifer Lopez isn't going to impact his new movie. You've heard of Unstoppable, right? He also doesn't want it to prevent his ex from getting the praise she deserves for her performance in the upcoming flick. Sure, that sounds like a bit of a mixed bag of a statement, but bear with me, folks. The actor rekindled his romance with the on-the-floor singer back in 2021, and then fans were heartbroken when J-Lo filed for divorce in August of this year, following the months and months and months of speculation that their 2-year-long marriage had crumbled. And if you've been around for a hot minute, you know what I mean when I say months and months and months of signs. I think I've still got a Google alert for J-Lo. Despite the pair still working out the terms of their divorce, they've been forced to forge ahead on a professional level because they worked together on this film. They worked also with Ben Affleck's best friend, Matt Damon. So on Sunday, Ben Affleck broke his silence in the wake of the split to praise J-Lo's spectacular performance because, and I quote, "he is adamant about keeping things civil." We've got a statement, folks. Ben wants Unstoppable to be a major hit, and for J-Lo to receive as many accolades as she deserves for it. Sure, that insider source isn't totally just a PR person disguising themselves as a bestie leaking insider scoop or anything. Ben doesn't want the relationship ruining any buzz for the movie and her performance. He wants it to stand on its own. Translation, he's commenting on it now to maybe avoid getting asked about it 1,000 times during press. But the insider continues, he knows that he's going to be asked about Jen during media appearances. Wow, I'm a psychic. He's adamant about keeping it very civil. He truly believes she nailed it. Ben's a filmmaker and an Oscar winner. He knows what works. He always thought JLo would be incredible. Okay, enough with the scripted nonsense. Now, there's another source that's claiming that Ben Affleck, which, by the way, his daughter Violet, still very close with JLo, is aware that any comment he makes about his ex is undoubtedly going to make headlines in the coming weeks, and his family's going to see it, but he has no plans to elaborate. Ben obviously has a lot of loose ends to tie up with JLo, but he's proud of her performance. He also knows how much weight his comments have, and if Ben says his ex-wife is good, then she must be good and people will watch the film. This is the first and only thing he has to say about her split, and well, that's all he's gonna say. Great, glad we got all that out of the way. Now the source did add that Ben and his producing partner know better than any that attempting any sort of avoidance tactics isn't gonna happen. Make no mistake about it, this film was a huge investment for Ben and Matt. They can't not comment on a star's performance when they're in a lead role in the film they produced. So yeah, okay, fair point, I'll give them that. The 1 point you get, sir. The two-time Oscar winner made the comments, by the way, in an interview with Entertainment Tonight. He was joined by Damon, and he said Jennifer is spectacular in the role of Judy in the sports drama. Other than that, Ben Affleck's been staying pretty quiet in the wake of the marriage breakdown. But JLo did give new insight recently. I think it was a sit-down with Nikki Glasser for Interview Magazine. She described her heartbreak as sad and scary. Now, I don't think she named Ben by name, but she did say she's not looking for anybody right now, and she did suggest that her ex did not embrace all of her flaws. It happens. Now, if you want to break down the relationship timeline, I got you. So in April of 2021, there was reports surfacing that the two were reconnecting. So this was right after JLo broke up with Alex Rodriguez, you know, the baseball star? So the couple confirmed their relationship on Instagram that July, made their red carpet return at the Venice Film Festival, and then they exchanged vows at the Little White Chapel in Vegas on July 16th of 2022, because nothing says romance like Vegas. So after Ben Affleck moved out of the $68 million mansion he shared with JLo and into his own rental bachelor pad in California this year, a lot of friends were worried that he might relapse because of the strain of such a public split. And news outlets did report at the time that JLo turned to Jennifer Garner, Ben's last wife, for help because, well, she could offer advice. So we got Bennifer 1.0, Bennifer 2.0, folks. Keep track. So Ben was reportedly upset by the news that people were worried about him relapsing. Yeah, he tried to avoid reading the news, but it did upset him because folks thought he relapsed, but he hadn't. There was a source that was very adamant saying that, like every addict, Ben just woke up with one goal in mind, to stay sober for that day. Apparently the tough fallout from this split helped to show Ben how important it is to never jeopardize his sobriety. And you know what? All the props to you, pal, for keeping up with it. It's a great thing. Now, it's not unusual once you break up with somebody, you're gonna go for a bit of an image change. You're gonna go for your glow up. But apparently JLo is taking Ben's glow up a little personally, and I'm gonna elaborate why, because it does make sense. So Ben's been spotted out and about. He's had this like noticeably darker hair, noticeably darker beard, and a lot of folks are like, oh, did you like dye your grays? Did we get some touch-ups going? Apparently he's also looking buffer, you know, he's looking great. And the makeover kinda got JLo feeling offended. Why? Well, she's infuriated that he's only started looking after himself now that she's not around to reap the benefits. There's one insider that was like, yeah, he's going out of his way to pamper himself, look his absolute best. He's, you know, dyeing his hair, he's getting manicures, he's getting waxed, which like, okay, props to you, buddy. He's even getting hair plugs and seeing a dermatologist. Well, he wants to get skin treatments, he wants to turn back the clock. And JLo is seeing red, because these are all the things she wanted him to do when they were together, and he said no. Like, this isn't just like a little day trip to the salon. Apparently he's having like a whole lifestyle overhaul. Which I know, we're all gonna miss the Dunkin' photos. But apparently Jen was begging him their entire relationship to take better care of himself. So now she's feeling kind of wounded because it's like, oh, he's just doing this for revenge. Apparently even his diet is cleaner. He's cut out a ton of junk. And JLo's like, yeah, this feels like a slap in the face. It's sending the message to her that she wasn't worth making these changes for. But now that he's single and he's looking to impress new women, he's willing to like step it up. He wants to stop being such a slob. And like, yeah, I'm sure she loved him even though he was a slob, but she wanted him to be his best self. Despite the divorce not being completely finalized, Ben has already been linked to other women. I think he was spotted with JFK's great niece. But apparently, you know, he's saying this whole thing isn't like just to get a new woman. He's insisting, and this had nothing to do with JLo. He's just getting back to his old self. He felt micromanaged in the relationship. He grew tired of trying to impress her. He's tired of living up to her standards. Now he's taking advantage of the freedom to do what he wants. But the irony is, now that she isn't telling him what to do, he's realizing she wasn't entirely wrong. Ben wants to look and feel his best. He's looking to get on the dating scene. And JLo's watching all this unfold with a mixture of frustration, disbelief, because she just wanted him to be his best self. Especially since they both exist in the public eye. It makes sense. It bothers her to see him making all these improvements, knowing that somebody else is gonna benefit from the effort that she helped inspire. Now obviously her inner circle is just look, he's a middle-aged fool, he doesn't deserve you. But obviously she's gonna feel a little hurt. How is she cheering herself up? Well, retail therapy, can't go wrong. She's spending an outrageous amount of money on a variety of things. She's also beefing up her entourage, which means, sure, surrounded by a million friends, but then you're spending triples because if I go somewhere, you're all coming with me. I want people around me to tell me this, that, yay, yay. There were news outlets that did report that she's throwing around money like she's a billionaire. She's not. According to news reports, JLo was spending $100,000 per day for a while on designer clothes for herself and her entourage. And look, I get it, spend your money, but $100,000 a day is a lot of money. And the way she was hemorrhaging that money, it's kind of madness. Sure, she says it makes her happy, and I get it, the dopamine from retail therapy is great, but look girl, you're worth $400 million, and if your financial team is kind of worried about your spending, then it might be time to spend a little less. Think about it, she's got this divorce to settle, which could cost her $50 million. She needs a new home, and yeah.